Hi everybody, in this video I'm just going to do a quick demonstration of creating a character. This is going to show some of the new functionality in release 18, but also it's just a good demonstration of how to actually go through the process of creating a character, how to use the features and functionality within Fantasy Grounds, and how quick it can actually be to create a Pathfinder 2nd edition character. So I've just enabled three main sources in this campaign. So the core rules, the advanced player's guide, and the Lost Omens character guide. So they should give me most of the main options that I'm going to need to actually create this character. And basically, I'm just going to create a gnome barbarian. So we'll call him Gnomen the Barbarian. That's really bad, I know, but hey, that's what we're going with. And so the first thing that you do is when you create a new character, the character tracker, the charge end tracker, appears. If you open your character in future, this won't appear, and you can just make it appear by clicking the tracker button on the main character tab. And this guides you through creating your character, prompts you when to add some things, also tells you if automation needs to be applied or not. I can't stress strongly enough, whenever you're adding anything to your character, open the character tracker or look at it and follow the guidance within there. It'll really make it a lot quicker, and it'll give you some idea of what you need to do manually and what the system's done itself. So the first thing that it's going to say is to start add an ancestry. So click the one ancestry button above and then drag drop an ancestry link to the PC sheet or the charge end tracker. So that's what I've done. I've pressed ancestry and it's opened the ancestry window, and this shows me all the ancestries that are available to me based off the sources that I've opened. So I'm going to create a gnome, so all I do is just grab the link and drop it either on the character sheet or into the charge end tracker. And this gives you some options, and it also presents some data. So this log window in the bottom of the charge end tracker, this populates kind of bottom to top. So it can be a little bit confusing at first because basically it starts populating the data and we need to look at the top for the more recent information. This is purely that the way this scroll window works within Fantasy Grounds, we can't populate and automatically display the bottom of this data when new data is added, but we can at the top. So basically new data is added at the top, and actually once you get used to it, I find it works really well because you can just concentrate at the top. But anyway, what this does is it tells you we've added ancestor gnome to Gnomen the Barbarian. This has added some various languages, it's set the site, it's set all various things and data within there, and it's telling us we need to add an ancestry feat. So I'll come back to that a little bit later. So generally things in red and with pluses in front of them mean do something. Stuff in bold will be things you need to pay attention to, but red you really need to do something about it. And as part of adding this ancestry, I need to select a gnome heritage, and we've been prompted to actually do that. So this displays all of the various gnome heritages available to you, and also all of the uncommon heritages, essentially things like half-orc, half-elf, Aasimar, changeling, Dampier, all of those. So you could have a gnome half-orc, so basically you'd be half-orc, half-gnome. So all of those heritages are presented there, just like with anything that's uncommon. Just check with your GM that you actually have access to that to enable you to select it. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a normal gnome heritage, and to see more information about that heritage I can just press this button here, and this is going to show me all of the various gnome heritages, gives me a brief description, tells me a brief description about the features, tells me what source that actual heritage came from, and if I want to see full details about it, I can click that link and see all of the information there, because these entries, they only show something like the first 400 characters, and you can see if there's more data, there'll be some dots there. So I basically decided that I really want dark vision on my character, especially now in Fantasy Grounds with all of the new lighting functionality and everything else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick Umbral Gnome. So for heritages, you're presented with an option, so you need to just select the option there, Umbral Gnome, and it's going to add that Umbral Gnome has been added to Gnome the Barbarian, and it says it's added a feature and that automation has been applied. So I can just check what that feature was. My Umbral Gnome feature is you gain dark vision, and I can just check on the front page, and yes, my senses now have dark vision. So that's been updated, and when my character is added to the combat tracker and added to the map, it will display lighting based off me having dark vision. Also, as part of my ancestry, I get boosts in charisma and constitution. I get a floor in strength, and I get a free boost. And as I'm gonna be a barbarian, I'm gonna offset that strength floor. So that's my ancestry done. I can add an ancestry feat now, but I'll just leave that. You can come back and do that a bit later. I'll just have to remember I have to do that. And now I'm going to add a background. I'm trying to think a gnome barbarian. What would he be like I don't know, somebody who kind of worked on a farm or something like that potentially. With a strong back and understanding of seasonal cycles, you till the land, tended crops. I quite like the farmhand because this gives the assurance athletics skill feat. And it also gives me a boost on constitution, which is handy for the barbarian. So for this, I just need to click and drag. I select constitution, and then my free ability boost, I'll select strength. And again, the system's going to tell you what it's added. So it says, feat assurance added to Gnome and the Barbarian, no automation applied. It's telling me to check the entry and manually apply if needed. So I can check this assurance, and that basically means that I can take 10 on athletics checks in future, which is actually pretty cool because you normally can't take 10 as standard in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. There's no other kind of bold entries for adding that background. So we've added the ability boosts, we've added the assurance athletics feat, we've trained law farming, and we've trained the skill athletics. So we can just check that. So we've trained athletics there, we've trained in the law farming as well. So that's been added, all done automatically for us. So now we can add our class. So again, to do that, we click the button, click and drag Barbarian onto the character sheet. We can see there's a few things that are going to happen here. It's telling me did not train athletics because it already exists at trained or higher, so that means I can train another skill. I need to train a total of 3 skills plus that additional one, so I need to train 4 skills now. And it says if you increase your intelligence in step 4, your free boosts, change that. Train another skill. I'm not going to have an intelligent barbarian. I need to add a barbarian feat. Instincts are being added and things like that. And that's what's happening here. We're getting select an instinct. So these are the barbarian class features that we need to select an instinct. We can click the links here to see what those various instincts actually give us. We can go through and spend a bit of time looking at these, see which ones may have automation against them. For example, if we have a look at Dragon Instinct, there is some automation against the Rage ability, Draconic Rage, which gives us additional damage. I'm quite interested in the Dragon Instinct. This allows us to, gives us various things that we can add extra damage based off when we rage, based off the type of dragon that we actually choose. So I'm quite interested in maybe having a gold dragon so I can add, fire damage as part of my rage. So I just select Dragon Instinct here. That adds the data. It adds some of the data already, but it also then says what dragon do you want to be. So I want to be a gold dragon. And that's going to add some data to the character sheet. And what this has actually done is this has added, as part of me being a barbarian and as part of me having the Dragon Instinct, it's added a couple of character effects to my character sheet so that I can turn those on when I actually rage. So if I just do normal rage, I do 2 extra damage on melee attacks and I have an AC -1. If I have a look at the Draconic Rage, I do 4 melee, then we've got this kind of cross-reference there for my Dragon Instinct Rage. And what this does is I can see what that actually does there if I hover over the name of Draconic Rage. It's telling me that I'm going to have 4 fire damage on my melee attacks. and that's because when I selected the gold dragon, it's tagged me as having association with fire, and that can be seen within this little 3 bars there. I can see that we have this cross-reference name Barbarian Instinct Rage, and that's fire. So wherever we see curly brackets XBIR, it's going to substitute fire within these character effects. So that's just an example of the new automation features available within Release 18. So now we've added our class, and there's a couple of things we need to do with that based off, we need to add a feat, we need to train 3 skills, we need to train another skill because we already have athletics. We added that as part of our background. So I'm just going to go into my skills tab. I'm going to have intimidation. What else could I have? Maybe nature, 2 more left, perhaps survival. Maybe performance. Perhaps I'm good at singing or something like that. So I've just trained my 4 skills based off that. I have a barbarian feat to add, and I also from earlier on have an ancestry feat to add as well. So this is where the system also speeds things up for you with these 4 buttons in the middle of the charge end tracker. ANC is for ancestry feats, and what this will do is show you all of the ancestry feats that are relevant to you at this level. So essentially we're level 1, so it's only going to show us first level ancestry feats. We still need to just check prerequisites here, that we've got these various prerequisites available to us. Like I've got the Umbral Gnome heritage, so Grim Insight would be relevant to me, which makes me a little bit better when at saving throws and things like that. So yeah, I quite like the look of that Grim Insight feat. So again, I just click and drag it to my character sheet. It says, I'll just go and check at the top, Grim Insight has been added, no automation applied, check the entry and apply if needed. So there's no automation generated with that, so I'll just have to remember that I can increase the success level of my saving throws against fear, and it can make people flat-footed. So I just need to remember that when I'm applying that later. We could see that actually from this window here that there was actually no automation available against Grim Insight. This is a new release 18 functionality. Probably in a future release when more data is updated, Grim Insight will have some automation around that that fear saving throw effect and ability there. So that's our ancestry feat. The other thing we need to do is do a class feat. So I'll click class, and I'll check what's available to me here. I could select Draconic Arrogance if I wanted to, because I have Dragon Instinct. I only get a +2 status bonus for saving throws against emotions. That's not particularly what I'm looking for. But one thing I'm quite interested in is Raging Intimidation. So I did actually train Intimidation just before, and this actually allows me to use Demoralize while I'm raging. So that sounds pretty good. Again, there's no automation against it, so I know when I add it, it's going to tell me that there's no automation, and just check the entry and apply manually if needed. So I just need to remember that the various effects and benefits of this Raging Intimidation. The main one being that I can actually intimidate while I'm raging, which is great. We can have a raging gnome who can actually intimidate. I like that. So we'll just double check through. I think we've done everything that we need to do. The Barbarian feat, the training of the skills, add the Ancestry feat, that's great. So now it's just the final thing is to do free boosts. I'll add Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, and because I want to do a bit of Intimidation, I'm going to boost Charisma as well. And I click OK. And the last thing it says, do you want to add the default class equipment kit? So this is an equipment kit that's relevant to the Barbarian. We can just review that. If I just go into the reference manual in the core rules, just go to the class kits here. And a Barbarian, you get an Adventurous Pack and a Grappling Hook, 4 Javelins, Hide Armor, and then you have some options to buy additional weapons. So yeah, just for the sake of speed and everything else, I'm quite happy with that. So I'll just say yes. to this add class kit, and it gives me now, it presents me now with these options, which ones do you want to select. So I'm just going to go with greatsword, a gnome barbarian with a greatsword. Sounds pretty cool to me. Say that, and that's essentially my character complete. I'll just go to the inventory tab, and you can see it's populated with the adventurer's backpack, with the grappling hook, with the hide, with the javelin, with the greatsword that we all selected. Those have been populated with the relevant proficiencies in the action tab, in the combat tab. It's populated the information that we need there as well, and so that's very, very quickly done all of the information that we actually need. So probably really the final thing we just need to do is select a portrait. So let's have a look at some gnome portraits. Go down. The Lost Gnome and Character Guide has some good gnome portraits in there. Let's just have a look. So there's a few gnomes around here. I can decide who, maybe this one is my gnome. And so that's pretty much it. We can check through. We spent 6 gold and 1 silver in buying all of that information there, buying all of that equipment. So we've still got some money left. The treasure is not reduced based off those purchases. Maybe in a future release it will be. So we just kind of need to work out that, hey, we've got 61 less silver pieces there. It's worked out our total bulk. If we're worried, later when we get loads of coins and we play a game where you don't worry about coin bulk, you can come in here and just check that box there to not have coin bulk. But pretty much, this character is ready to go. Just as an example of that Draconic Rage functionality, I'm going to add this character to the combat tracker because effects only work when a character is actually in the combat tracker. And I'm going to start ranging. I'm going to use Draconic Rage, which is going to add 4 fire damage. And I can see that here by clicking the Show PC Effects. That's going to be 4 damage melee fire, and of course I'm AC -1 because I'm raging. And so that means, when I actually roll some damage with my greatsword, it's going to add 4 damage. 4 fire damage to that attack. So now, my D12 plus 3 is now D12 plus 7, with, slashing me with D12 plus 3 and fire being that additional 4. So that's all automatically included in that. When I finish raging, I just turn that off, and then, my damage doesn't have that fire damage actually being applied to it anymore. So that's pretty much it. I hope watching this video has given you some ideas of how easy it is and how quick it is to actually go and create a character. I mean, this has taken nearly 18 minutes for me to go through it, but I've obviously been explaining quite a lot. I mean, if you have a little bit of an idea about Pathfinder 2nd Edition and just follow the guidance in the character generation tracker, use the class kits, it can actually be very, very quick to actually create a character and have a character ready for actually playing when you join your GM's campaign. So I hope it's been of use to you, and thanks for watching. Bye.